وصلوات الله وسلامه على نبينا المصطفى المجتبى وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. It gives me great pleasure to be here for the first conference that the brothers are putting on. Allah knows best. It's going to happen 10, 15, 20 years from now. Normal Islam is under attack. And if we don't do something about it, things are going to continue to change until maybe 10 years from now. You'll have a woman leading the khutbatul Jummah and another woman making the adhan. The way things are going, Muslims have to wake up and smell the coffee and get serious about taking the bull by the horns and doing our job. Everybody has to get in where you fit in. The picture of Islam that we're giving to these non-Muslims, is it the correct picture? The way we as Muslims are, how we understand. This one over here is cursing the companions. That one over there, he believes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never died. He knows the ilm al-ghayb. He's Hazir Nazir. This one over here doesn't wear hijab. That one over here is killing the Muslims. That one over here is making takfir. This one over here who claims he's on the Sunnah, he'll explode you from the Sunnah, kick you off of the Sunnah, just because he saw you riding a bus that was being driven by the great cousin of a Mulvi Saab back in his country. So he'll expel you from the Sunnah. Drama. So it gives me great pleasure historically to participate with you brothers. I think our brother Jahangi wants to change the mic. So now back to the point, inshallah, as I was mentioning about the history, we want to leave our marks. I don't think our parents came to this country from Bangladesh or where we came from, except we were looking for a better opportunity for our children. So for the children, you guys, to grow up here, born and raised here, and you lose your religion, it's the benefit of that. It's probably better to stay in Bangladesh and to die from poverty than to come to a place where there's a bit more money, which is your deen. So we want to leave our mark where we happen to be. So I want to thank the brothers who decided to invite me here to be one of the first participants in this program. they asked me to talk about the importance of raising our children in this non-Islamic society, things like that, some of the challenges. And I'm a person who I'm always under and within the authority. So these brothers are the authority for me. I've chosen a different topic myself. I think when we talk about Salafiyya these days, Salafiyya, the Salafi people have been afflicted with the confusion that everybody else has been afflicted with. Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ. There are those people, they worship Allah, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to handle things in this religion. They don't know. There's an ayah of the Quran, وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. We revealed the Quran, it explains everything you need to know. You want to know how to navigate? Islam explained everything. The Quran has all of the answers. A Yahudi, during the time of Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, one of the tremendous scholars of Islam, Amir al-Mu'minin al-Hadith, in case you know, Sufyan al-Thawri, a Jew came to him to try to make trouble about this ayah. The Jew said, your Quran says that Allah explained everything in the Quran. Every answer to everything. The Jew asked Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, did the Quran teach you how to make a farid? A farid is a type of Arab delicacy. When the man came to the Prophet ﷺ, he found him for the first time. The man was nervous when he found Rasulullah. He was nervous because Rasulullah was like that. From the respect that he commanded, the way he was. It's like a scholar. It's like your mother, your father, your grandmother, a respectable person. When you meet him, you respect him. You may not talk in his presence. So when this man came and he met the Prophet for the first time, he was nervous. And his throat was shaking, his clothes. Rasulullah told the man, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ala rizlik, take it easy. I'm just a man who his mother used to eat farid. That's the word, farid. It's a food, an expensive food the Arabs used to eat. So let's just imagine it's curry. The man said, you mean to tell me that the Quran taught us how to make curry based on that ayah? And Imam Sufyan al-Thawri said, Allahumma na'am. He didn't get scared, he wasn't shy, he wasn't apologetic about his religion, because he had knowledge. He said, yes. He said, Allah said in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those people who know if you don't know. That ayah tells you and teaches you how to make curry. Just go to a man who knows how to make curry and you ask him, how do I make curry? And that ayah told you, ask those who know if you don't know. So the point here is, our religion explains everything we need to know. But the Muslims are suffering. And from amongst the Muslims are safe. So I would have chosen to do a different topic. But these brothers asked me to do this topic, and it's an important topic still. The topic of the challenge of the tarbiyah for our kids. So let me begin by saying at the top of the list, first thing I want to mention is, I'm a father just like you guys are fathers. And I'm not from the Malaika flying around, like in the culture, the Maghrib. We are taught to grow up, the Maghrib Sab, wala khayra fi. He doesn't even know the religion. He's sending us astray, teaching us shit, taking advantage of us. But some of us, that's our religion. That's not to say we don't respect elders, we don't respect the Imam, the Maghrib Sab, the Hafiz. But if he's a charlatan, if he's a kahin, sahir, mujrim, we have to know that. But anyway, the point that I want to make is, I give dawah, but I'm not flying around with Jibril and Mikael, eating food with the Malaika, the Hamlet al-Arsh. Meaning what? I have the same challenges that you people have with my own children. I have the exact same challenges that you people have with my children. And you have to realize that about all the imams and all of the people getting down, and everybody, we're all the same. Stop looking at people like, I'm the only one that has problems. No. Especially with COVID and how the world is changing, the fitting of the dunya that we're dealing with. Mental problems, mental health issues. Right now, maybe 90% of us in this place are suffering from some kind of mental health issue. It's not just you. That one has OCD, that one has waswas, that one over there, he has severe issues, from severe to mild. We are basically the same, all basically the same. So this issue of dealing with our children is a serious issue. Just to make it very clear, to make it personal, I have a son who was born in Medina and lived there for 8 years, speaks Arabic. When he went to America, he was shot 2 times in his stomach. Why was he shot? He was shot because he went off the rails. He stopped practicing. The way I am, the way I grew up, the cloth that I'm cut from, if you want to be a difficult child, I'll kick you out of the house and I won't think about it twice. I have the ability to do that. I don't care what the mother says. If you are cancer in my house, I know if you get cancer somewhere, it's going to spread in the body. I can kick you out and turn you off like the TV. So he was acting up and he went off the rails. He got shot twice. Allah saved him. Shot in his stomach by another African American. So when we say Black Lives Matter, like the microphone was making noise, I said, I just sat there, the other speaker was talking, the microphone didn't do anything, why would I get? It's conspiracy, the microphone is getting black people. But then I said, Bangladeshis are just as black as I am, whether they like it or not. We get this thing together. So my son, and I'm totally for that Black Lives Matter in America because the way those police me and my people is different than the way they police white people. So as a person of Salafiyah, I come into this dawah and this deen. Now do I have to become Saudi-centric? I'm just, everything Saudi Arabia is okay? And I forget about my own situation, my own people, my own children, my own needs, my own challenges. And we're going to come to them. So as it relates to the issue of my son, he lived. Another black kid shot for nothing. But Allah saved my kid. I said to my boy, hey boy, you are a dead man walking. Your life was done. Allah gave you another opportunity. And now he's practicing his religion, alhamdulillah. But why did my son have to get shot? It's all connected to what I'm going to talk to you about. I had another son, the last day of Ramadan, and he was one of my favorite sons, Abdurrahman al-Awwal, Rahmatullahi. He died on the last day of Ramadan. The next day I had to come up with the topic for the Eid, and the topic had to be celebratory. It's the Eid, but it was hard for me to get my head right. I'm just like you people. You got problems, you got challenges, we all do. And that's why if we take the religion correctly, we'll help each other. I'm an imam, I'm a khatib, I'm going to give talks. Every time I come before the people, all I say is, hellfire, hellfire, you're no good, hellfire, hellfire, you're not doing bad, bad, bad. Well, there are people in the community who suffer from mental health issues. If I bring that negativity all the time, it would inadvertently affect people negatively. That's not the Prophet's way, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He would talk about the hellfire, where people would think they all gonna go into the hellfire. Then he would talk about the Jannah, and the people would think they're gonna go into the Jannah. But the way it is today, the khatib just gets up there, he's a deviant, you're no good, he's this, look what he did, you did, yeah, well that may be true, but can we have a dosage of khayr, light, goodness? So the Shaykh I got issues like you. So as I sit here, and I don't know most of you, I know on the left side, these sisters, and on the right side, everybody got drama and fitna here. Some more than others. So before you as a person who, again, I'm not detaching disconnected between, from you and reality. And I don't sit up here trying to pretend I'm something that I'm not. So as it relates to our children, like that ayat said, Allah has explained to us everything we need to know about these kids and our religion. But you know those ayat that speak down upon a lot of numbers, like وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, most of the people don't know. Those ayats. If you follow most of the people in the earth, they lead you astray. Most of the people, by Allah, they're mushrikun and stuff like that. Most of the people who are Muslims don't know how to be parents. Most of us don't know how to be effective parents. So today's talk is just an encouragement where we're just going to scratch the surface because a lot can be spoken about. Second thing I want to mention is the fitrah that Allah created everybody on. Fitratullah allati fatara an-nasa 'alayha. Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, kullu mawlud yuladu 'ala al-fitrah. Every child, human being, born on the fitrah, born as Muslims, including George Bush, Obama, and the rest of those kuffar. All of them are born on the fitrah. The mothers and fathers, the environment, make them a Jew, a Christian, or Magian. And that fitrah is that thing that is the natural disposition, not only to say La ilaha illallah, but also to look up. That Allah Azza wa Jal Ar-Rahman is over his arsh. Allah put that into human beings. No human being, if left alone, is going to look for Allah in his thobe, in his jade. No. His fitrah, his Indian. Allah is over the seven heavens in a way that befits his majesty. So part of the fitrah is for parents to love their children and to make sacrifices for their children, like my parents. When I was growing up, my mother used to always remind me, she came from the South, they were very poor. She used to tell me, I used to walk this anytime we get in trouble, we do something in school, she wanted to show us how we're not grateful. She would say, I used to walk to school for 40 miles and return 80 miles. We say, Ma, when we crunch the numbers, that don't work. How do you walk 40 miles and come back 80 miles? She said, don't be smart, just understand it was tough. That's what she was saying. Don't be a smart aleck. I had to go through a lot. That was the point. So your parents went through a lot. They didn't have education, they didn't have the money, they didn't have the opportunities, they didn't have the resources, but they made tadhiyah. Now we come here, the wife here wants to make sacrifices, but the husband doesn't. The husband wants to make sacrifices, but the wife is just worried about keeping up with the Joneses. She don't want no sacrifices. So most of the people in this ummah, we don't know what we're doing. But that doesn't mean that the opportunity is not there to learn. The opportunity is there to learn, and that's why I rate these brothers for giving this topic. This is an opportunity to come together and perhaps, perchance, we can remind each other of the truth. So the natural disposition is for the parent to love his child, to be able to be ready to give him his kidney, his liver, whatever, like some of us do. I know my wife. I'm living in Leeds 5 days a week, and I come to Birmingham for 2 days. That means my wife has to drive my daughters to school and pick them up every day. She has to do that with the jihad traffic of Birmingham. And if I were to speak openly, and I'm not pandering to no women, I just speak openly, it appears to me that the average Muslim woman is doing more work in the house than the man. And every house is not like that, but the sacrifices of the father and the mother, we have to be on the same page. And we'll come to that, inshallah. The fitrah. You gotta love your kids. You have to look at your kids as being a creation that those kids are for me. Nobody better not touch them. You know one thing I can never understand from the Asian culture? But this is what happens. Religion makes the mind, religion is like an opiate. That's why you can belong to a cult of people and see things and are not really that way, because you're in a cult and it's your religion. Whether it's Salafiyya, Islam, other than that. Whatever the case is. But one thing I've always had a problem getting my head around is how Asians, back in the day especially, would take their kid and put the kid in the madrasa and leave the Maulvi or the Ustad to hit the kid when he made mistakes. And some of you experienced that. I would never, me, Abu Usamah, put my kid in the madrasa. If any Ustad touch my kid, it's going to be a problem. Because my kid is not there to be touched by any of you. I even say to my kids in school that any of the teachers in the regular school push you, bully you, because if they did, I'm going to that school. That's my responsibility as the protector of that kid. But the religion, the mother and the father would say, yeah, the Maulvi, he knows, you shouldn't have been bad. Nah, the Maulvi should have never touched that kid. Never. But again, religion is an opiate. It'll make you like you're drugged. And that's why Salafiyya is the way that's going to help people. Because it makes you wake up and understand. No sheikh has all of the answers. No one should be followed indiscriminately, unconditionally, except one person. I'm going to ask who he is. Who's the person that we have to follow unconditionally? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. No other sheikh other than that. Everybody else get it right. Like that, something went wrong. Like with Ibrahim, salawatullahi wassalamu alayhi. When Ibrahim said, the star is my Lord, the moon is my Lord, the Shams is my Lord, the reason why he said that is because his environment, his parents, they corrupted his fitrah. But he got to a point where he started looking for the truth, and he found the truth by Allah's permission. But the fitrah necessitates, dictates, you're supposed to love your kids and be willing to sacrifice for them. Also, in addition to that,
It's what Allah Ta'ala mentioned from the etiquette. It's just natural. وَلْيَخْشَى الَّذِينَ لَوْ تَرَكُوا مِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّةً ضِعَافًا خَافُوا عَلَيْهِمْ. Let those from amongst you, if you're about to die, you think you're going to die, you are worried and afraid that you're going to leave your children weak and in need. You don't want to leave your kids like that. You want someone to be on the scene who you know is going to take care of your kids. Your father, your brothers, their mother, their mother's father, brothers. No one wants to leave his kid just like that. No one. That ayah shows that. Let those from amongst you be afraid. Those who they are afraid of leaving their children and they're weak. Let them fear Allah. And let them say the statement that is correct. Sadida. Another ayah. Now I'm not going to go through many ayahs. I'm just trying to make a point. As for the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told the people in the wedding, mubhilatun, muhzinatun, mujhilatun, mujbina. The child, your child, my children, your children will make you stingy. Because instead of spending fi sabilillah, you want to spend on your kid. You don't want to spend because I have money, I got to be able to take care of my family. A man is worried, so he doesn't spend for the masjid. He doesn't spend, the masjid needs your money. This organization needs your financial support. I'm not here begging, it's just a reality. Your child will encourage you, don't spend. Keep that money. You have to buy this, school supplies, you gotta buy that, gotta buy that. Your children will make you a coward. A coward, huh? You won't go out for jihad. You're supposed to go out for jihad to protect the interests of your child, future of your child. But you say, nah, I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna stay here with my kids. Your children will make you ignorant. Ignorant how? You will stay home and not go to the masjid to learn. You won't seek out the person who has knowledge to learn. Because you have to be home with your child. Your child will make you sad. Give you huzn. You all know that. But that means I was hazin jiddan when I lost my boy Abdurrahman. I didn't even know. I was saying to myself, wow, I'm going to give the khutbah tomorrow. What am I going to talk about? I lost my boy. And when I went out there, I was looking up in the sky and I was just in another world, just saying to myself, hey man, you better tie up your boots and bring this noise and do what you have to do. But I was sad. As all of you have been sad when your kids get sick, something happens, and if you had a child that died, that lady who has a miscarriage, the man, he can keep moving on. Okay, the baby wasn't even born, it was a miscarriage, no problem. But that lady, mentally, she goes through some pain. The husband can't really understand it. But you never saw the child, never lived. Okay, it's a bad thing, but come on. You don't experience what that lady experienced. So the child, that is what happens. That's the point. That we're supposed to be people who naturally love our babies, love our children, especially when they're small and they're in need of our assistance. Last thing that I want to mention in that regard is, and I have to mention this love that we have for the children, this is one of the reasons why Islam tells you don't get too connected to your child to the degree where if you had to draw the line and you said, lakum dinukum waliya din. Don't get too connected with your mother, your father, your culture, your relatives, your deen, your children, if they became enemies to the deen. You have to sometimes take a position against your mother, your father, your tribe, your king. Everybody knows that hadith from the Jawami al-Kalim. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده وولده والناس أجمعين. None of you are true believers until you love me, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, more than you love your father or your mother, and more than you love your child, and more than you love all the people. Why did he mention that? Because it shows the fitrah is people are supposed to love their children. But in loving your children, there's a balance. A balance in everything in Islam. The hadith said, أحبب حبيبك هون ما عسى يكون غريبك يوم ما. Love your habib, whoever it is, your husband, your wife, your mother, your father, love them moderately. The day may come when they become your enemy. And hate your enemy moderately. The day may come where they become your habib. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim in everything. So that's the second point I want to have in your mind. That our children, more emphasis than gold and silver and platinum. You know, for the walima, for the nikah, one of the conditions of the nikah is the dowry, We give the girl the dowry as a token of our appreciation. The man wants to marry her, here's a dowry, 1,000 pounds, 500 pounds, whatever. It's just a token of Kofar trying to say, we're buying the girl. When I know every father in this place, when it comes to the dowry, if someone said to one of us, the father, I'm going to fill this room up, the whole room, not just the inside, not just say, I'm going to fill this whole room up with brand spanking new 50-pound notes. Just sell me your daughter. Just give me your daughter. Every man here is going to say, A'udhu billah. My daughter's priceless. Our children are priceless. Our girls, our daughters are priceless. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's just a token of appreciation. There's nobody buying a girl. Our daughters are priceless. So the point is, it's normal and natural to love your kids, but in loving your kids, we have to know what we're doing. So we have those other narrations. Everybody here who has a child, you are responsible for your child. You're like a shepherd, and you'll be asked about your responsibility. Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ul an ra'iyati. Everybody's responsible. We have those ahadith, those ayah. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wrote that Quran, and that Quran warned everybody here. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Save yourselves first, and save your families from the hellfire, whose fuel is men and stone. Our kids are going to hell, and we're going to hell if we don't do something about it. So save yourselves and your families. They asked the companion, Ali ibn Abi Talib, how do we do that? He said, teach them the religion. Teach your children the adab of Islam and the akhlaq of Islam. That's our religion. And the other thing is, and this is important, Ikhwani, listen to this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from the angle of al-amana, al-ilmiya, some of the scholars say this hadith is not authentic. Al-Albani and others say it is authentic. It's Hassan. The Prophet, from his du'as that he used to say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min jar as-su' ومن زوج تشيبني قبل المشيب ومن ولد يكون علي ربا. Listen to this dua. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from a bad neighbor. Because if you have a bad neighbor, the quality of your life is going to be affected adversely. This is not that talk, but you don't want a bad neighbor like I have. I got a bad neighbor. You guys got to make dua for me, that I'm going to crack that man's head open, because he is a problem. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from a wife who makes me gray before my time. I'm only 30 years old, but look at the gray in my hair. But this hadith applies for the woman too. I seek refuge in you from a husband who makes me gray before my time, because he's driving me crazy with his behavior and his attitude and his mentality. He's a problem. Rasulullah made that dua. And he said, I seek refuge in you from a child who becomes my Lord. And this is the time we're living in. The hadith of Jibril, from the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah and Tara al-Ama and Talad al-Amatu Rabbataha, that you will see the slave girl giving birth to her master. The child becomes the mother and the father, and the mother and father become the child. That's what we're dealing with right now. I'm not talking about my community, African Americans, because we're special how we are. Just like Bangladesh, you got your own thing. I'm talking about white people right now. White people, many of them raise their children a particular way, and when it comes to training them, the mother and father will say to Johnny when he's acting up, "Hey, Johnny, go get in timeout, Johnny. Go get in timeout right now." African American kid, your mother ain't telling you getting no timeout. We didn't know anything about timeout. Our parents dealt with us. But white people, "Hey, Johnny, go get in timeout." Johnny, in the back days, he would go into timeout, put his nose in timeout. Now, Johnny wants to go out and he does something. He says, "I want to go here, I'll be back 3 o'clock in the morning." And he's only 15 years old. The mother and the father say, "No, can't do that." Johnny says, "Go get in timeout, Mom. And Dad, you go get in timeout." That's what we're dealing with right now. Those of you who are not married and you don't have children, you think it's a joke? The children today are a problem. They don't understand. The father can have COVID, and the father is sick with COVID, and he may check out and die. And the child is from his ex-wife, or maybe, he's working. He won't call, he won't come to visit, he won't ask, "How you doing, Dad?" This is what we're dealing with today. So now, with that being the case, what do we do as parents? In this environment, there's a lot to say, So I just want to say a few things, inshallah, that I jotted down, a few points very quickly. And I don't claim, and I don't think, and I'm not trying to check and tick every box here. I'm just trying to bring some ideas to your mind. Perhaps, perchance, you guys will reflect, and it'll give you some kind of encouragement or incentive to deal with your situation. At the top of the list, dealing with these kids in this environment. First thing that I would advise with and bring to your attention, especially as fathers, is that we have to know our children. You know the madrasa that I have, the Imam Rashid used to be with us and leads, and our madrasa try to give love to the little boys and kids. I take a kid like that and I'll say, "Come here, give me a hug." A lot of our kids, the boys, when they hug, they don't hug you back, they like this. I say, "Hug me with your hands, man, wrap it up." He doesn't want to. It's hard for him. But now, they'll hug me. We got love. Why is he tentative to show affection? Because his father doesn't do that with him. The culture discourages it. What culture? Prophet Muhammad used to cry, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr used to cry. Umar used to cry. He had lines in his cheek from the salt. You talk about men don't cry. No, you have to know your child. So as my kids grow into puberty, I can't take to my boy, a razor, a big razor. I can't just take the razor to my boy and put it on his dress and leave. I gotta sit down with my boy and tell my boy, "Hey boy, this is what this is for." And I have to have those awkward conversations. So the first thing I want to advise, especially the fathers, mothers too, you gotta know your child. That's my religion. And what I mean by know your child, I know that's Usamah Khalifa Dhahabi. I don't mean his name, what hospital he was born in, the birthday. I mean know your child. Who is he hanging out with? What does he like? What does he not like? What's his personality? How do you get him to excel? And one of the delils of that is what the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he said, "Hey, can the sisters get those kids together? I know that they're young and everything like that, but can the sisters get the little kids, let that little boy know that it's not the Valentine right now." May Allah bless him. The Prophet sent Mu'adh ibn Jabal to Yemen, and he told Mu'adh, "You're going to people Ahlul Kitab. Know who you're giving dawah to. Ahlul Kitab are not Sikhs and Hindus. That's a different dawah. Know who you're dealing with, so you can affect them with your dawah, with your risala. As fathers, some of our children, we don't know them. And I want to mention this right now. Listen to me. Maybe 20 years ago, I accepted Islam, 1986. 20 years ago, I could not imagine having PlayStation in my house, a TV in my house, because we were on the deen like that. That's shaitan. But right now, most people got PlayStations in their house. But listen, if you have a PlayStation in your house and you have a son who's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and your son is playing PlayStation, and then when it's time for the salat, he puts the PlayStation down on his own. He goes and makes wudu and prays the prayer. No sunnahs before, no sunnahs after, no adhkar. He just prayed. Came back to the PlayStation, you should make sajda to shukr. Because that's not the norm in this room and in our homes. The kid will sit on PlayStation and let the salat come and go unless someone told him. So the father, the mother, you want to give tarbiyah to your child, especially the fathers, you have to know your kid. Who is he going with? Who is he coming with? Who's influencing? What is he listening to? What is he looking at? What does he like? What does he not like? I saw a social experiment where the guy would randomly stop the mother and the father and they start asking them questions about the kids. Father usually didn't know anything. The head teacher in school, father doesn't know. What's his favorite color? Father doesn't know. What's his favorite sport? The father doesn't know. And that's because the father's busy doing his thing. But sometimes we can't be busy when it comes to our kids. You don't know your kid. So how in the world you're going to be able to change the situation? Now don't get it twisted and don't get it wrong. I am not one of those people who say, or I believe, I don't believe this. You should be your kid's friend. Well, wait. What you mean, friend? That when I sit down, my kid can come up and pluck me in my ear? That my kid can play a joke on me and put it on social media? I ain't his friend like that. If you mean I should communicate with my kid, yeah, keep it that way. Don't be making it no other way. So get to know your kid if you want to give him tarbiyah. That's the first thing. But this also goes for the mother. Because some of you guys, that cultural mother and father, the cultural one, the kid can drink vodka and orange juice in his room, and the mother and father don't know. And he's drunk as a skunk at the kitchen table, They don't even know. You gotta know your kid. You have to know what's going on. Does he or she have the signs of having a boyfriend or girlfriend? Does he or she have the signs of smoking weed? That's your job to know. We give them their privacy, especially as they grow older. But there's a point where, give me your telephone. But all of that has to be with hikmah. Second thing I want to mention in the way of advice is you have to know the environment, guys. This environment that we're living in, you have to know the environment. This is a terrible environment. I look in this audience, someone in this audience is the most religious person, someone in this audience is the richest person, someone in this audience is the most intelligent person, someone in this audience is the one that Allah loves the most, someone in this audience will be in the highest part of Jannah. May Allah put us all in the highest part of Jannah without no hisab or adab. If you are the most religious person in this audience and you have children, listen to me. You may have really good boys and girls, but this society right here, this society, even the best child is prone to slipping. Then the Prophet tells the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, badiru bil a'mal, fitting ka qit'il layli mudlim. Hurry up and do good deeds before the fitna comes. The time of fitna. You don't know up from down, right from left, white from black, fitting all over. A person will wake up in the morning as a believer and go to sleep at night as a kafir. To that degree. Our children can become LGBT overnight. Our children can apostate overnight with what's going on in this place. Know the environment that we're living in and the challenges. Why else do we have that hadith of the man that killed 100 people? Why do we have that? Just for Rumpelstiltskin, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears? Is this the story? No. That is a situation telling us the importance of the environment. Know what you're dealing with. When that man who killed 100 people asked the mufti, the alim, I killed 100 people, I want to make tawbah. The man said, leave this place and go to the other place. He knows the environment. He wants to teach the man, wants to teach the child, teach the man. You got to know your environment. We are not in Bangladesh. We're not in, don't get that wrong, I'm not against Bangladesh. But if you still think you're in Bangladesh, you're a problem. So we shouldn't force marriage on children if we can help it. If your child wants to marry someone other than your culture, you may need to look at that situation. We're not in Bangladesh or Pakistan or in Africa. We're in the UK. And I have a problem with our Salafi brothers who understand Saudi centrism is Salafiyah. Everything in Saudi Arabia. I'm not against Saudi Arabia. I love the Muslims and the Muslim lands, and I'm on khayr for Muslims. Saudi Arabia is special because of the Haramain, because of Masjid Quba, because Masjid al-Khayf, because it's a Muslim land of the Arabs, because they have knowledge there. But I don't have to talk to people here about politics of Saudi Arabia. I'm not even going to let you tell me about Bangladesh. I ain't got nothing to do with Bangladesh. I'm right here in the UK. I need to learn how to navigate right here. What are you doing? A Salafi is tantamount to everything in Saudi Arabia. Scholars only in Saudi Arabia. So if you talk bad about the leader of Turkey, bad about the leader of Qatar, bad about this one in Egypt, you okay. You talk bad about the leader of Saudi Arabia from the Khawarij? No, we don't talk about any of the leaders in a bad way. So the point is, this environment right now, we're not in Bangladesh. We're in the UK. And the sooner we wake up and smell the coffee, the easier. My children, born to a woman from Kenya. In Kenya, Arabs, Africans come together. When the children meet you, they take the hand of the elder and they kiss you with respect. They do that in Kenya. But when they came here, they were not with a lot of Kenyans. So they stopped doing that. For me to get mad at them and upset with them that they're not doing it, I have to understand the environment. They're not in Kenya. I wish they could have stayed on that, but they're not on it. So as the dad, I can't be upset and go overboard in an issue like that because there are bigger fish to fry, bigger nuts to crack. So know your environment. And why do we have hijrah in Ellis land? To leave the environment, that's a problem. But if you have to stay here, hey, listen, we're not at Salat time. Can you come? Anybody tell me what time is Salat al-Maghrib? What time is Salat al-Maghrib? About 9 o'clock, 9:15? Somebody get the little mu'adhin over there, that little mu'adhin, let them practice the adhan in the outside somewhere. Just until Salat time comes up, bring them back, inshallah. Next thing, Ikhwani, we have to know the time that we're living in. This is 2022. The world is a global village, very small. And if you're still living in the time in 1960, 1950, this stuff like this is a problem. Listen to what the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Listen to this, and I want you guys to remember this hadith. ما من عام إلا الذي بعده شر منه حتى تلقوا ربكم. There is no year that comes except that the year that is after it is worse than the one that preceded it until you meet your Lord. So every year that passes, it becomes worse and worse and worse until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Then when Yawm al-Qiyamah comes, and the earth will be the worst people. They won't even say Allah, Allah. So right now, we are living in the worst time known to Bani Adam. This is the worst time to be a child, a teenager, right now. Girl or boy. This is the worst time to be living in terms of fitna. This is the worst time. So, I think some of you remember in the 80s, we used to have those cassette tapes. If they snap, you put the pencil in, you fix it. Remember that? That don't even exist anymore. Now it's about optic fibers and about algorithms and things like that. The kind of lifestyle that I had in Jahiliyyah before Al-Islam. I used to tell my kids, don't lie to me. I know what time it is. And I'm not talking about this watch. I know what time it is. I tell them I was born in the nighttime, but I wasn't born last night. Don't you be coming with them cockamamie excuses, because your lie is going to get you in more trouble. I never thought there would be a generation gap or some misunderstanding between me and my kids. Wallahi, there's a generation gap between them. I don't know about computers and IT. My kids know how to get around and circumvent stuff. I don't know. And I put my hands up about that. And that's why I have to have an open relationship with them, because I know they are slick. They're intelligent. The best of them know how to play games. So you have to know the time that you're living. We're living in the worst time. So if I'm living in the worst time, this is not an easy time for a 16, 15-year-old boy or girl to know themselves. They're trying to discover themselves. In the house, they're hearing Islam, Islam, Islam. Be a Muslim, be a Muslim. They come out of the house and they see the reality of just taking the bus to school. Visiting the school and dealing with people. Now, if the parent doesn't take that into consideration, you're going to have a problem. So I believe we need to focus on our children and approach them, keep it in mind. This is the worst time to be a child. It's not easy on them. So I'm a father. My mother, my wives, they have soft hearts like birds, khafifa. I'm that type of person. I want to be gentle and easy, but like I told you, I don't, hey, you better know who's the boss here. Who's the boss? Who's the parent and who's the child? But if I'm going to give dawah to people and I'm going to say I have to be easy and gentle, Prophet Muhammad was gentle. Allah said in the Quran, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ انفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Take it easy. If you were rough and tough with Abu Bakr, Uthman, Ali, those awliya, if you were rough and tough with them, they'd run away from you, because that's the fitrah. Nobody wants people to be rough and tough with them. If you're rough and tough with your wife, there's a problem. Rough and tough with anybody, dawah, problem. So our children, they're not completely developed. They do a lot of dumb things we can't understand. I remember I asked my mother not too long ago, I said to my mother, hey, Ma, you know, this boy of mine, he's giving me a problem. His name is Muawiyah, 16. I make dua for him. You say Ameen. Oh, Lord, guy Muawiyah. Where's the Ameen? Oh, Lord, guy Muawiyah. And guide the children of these people as well. Muawiyah is a good kid. He's a good kid. But he's trying to find himself. Now, if I'm rough and tough with him, and I'm easy and gentle with the people, what kind of dawah is that? I'm like a candle. I'm the candle who burns and the people get light, but I'm destroying myself. I need to be merciful to my baby. I got to try to understand my boy at the age of 16. So I said to my mother, hey, Ma, my kid Muawiyah is a different way. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm pulling my hair out. I'm pulling it out. That's why my hair's like this. Oh, Ma, I'm pulling out. My mother's, I said, Ma, was I that dumb when I was that age? She said, yes. She said, you were dumb and you were a bigger problem. And my mother was a kafir. She's a kafir. May Allah guide her to Islam. And although she was a kafir, I used to tell her all the time when I was young, her and my father, the police would come. He did this. Nah, Ma, I didn't do it. These white people just don't like black people. You know how they are. My mother said, yeah, you white people, you don't like black. Get out of here, get out. And then we go to court, and then they have all of the CCTV footage. I did it. And my mother would look at me. You embarrassed me. You lied to me. But she always remained supportive. She never left me to the wolves. So I say to myself, how is it that my mother was a Catholic and my dad, and they were patient, and they made all of those sacrifices for me as a Catholic. Now I'm a Muslim. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is my example. And these children are my Muslim children. How I can do a better job. Your mothers and fathers, they didn't have the knowledge that you have. They didn't have the resources, the experiences that you had. But they did a lot. Worked hard, saved money. And here you are. I know one brother's father used to work in 3 restaurants. Bangladeshi brother Lee's worked in 3 restaurants and put that boy through the university. Now the boy became a dentist and he feels responsible religiously. Although his father's a tough dude to deal with, he feels that his money belongs to his father. Because of that hadith, أَنْتَ وَمَالُكَ لِأَبِيكَ. The father used to go to work, the son would go to work, and the father was living with the son during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The son would keep hiding his money. When the son went out to work in the desert, the father came, who wasn't working, retired, handicapped. He would take the boy, his son's money, and go and spend it. The boy would come and see his money and say, hey, it's my father taking my money. He didn't go and punch his father, slap his father, curse his father. He had edeb, he had deen. He went to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and told Rasulullah what happened. Prophet Muhammad, who does not like dhulm, no one can oppress him. He said to that boy, Anta wa maluka li abik. You and your money belong to your father. If it wasn't for Allah and being your father, you wouldn't be here. You, your children, your money, your house, your car, your degree, all of that belongs to your father. Yes, he's difficult, ignorant, self-centered, narcissistic. He's all of that. He's a burden. He's a fitna. But if it wasn't for Allah and then him, you wouldn't be here. Point is, we have to put things in perspective. So how I put it in perspective, if my non-Muslim parents were able to be patient with me, committed, dedicated to me, I have to realize I got to take it easy with my boy. Although he makes me upset. And the type of person I am, I can deal with him. But that won't help his situation. That won't rectify the problem. I have 5 minutes. I just want to do 2 more and that's it. Inshallah. The importance of hikmah, though, guys, is imperative, period. I think hikmah is in the Bangladeshi language. The word hikmah like that is in your language, right? Sabr is in your language, right? Nur, sakina is in your language, right? Is there a special word in Bangladesh for sakina? Or you use the word sakina? You guys looking at me like you're on another planet. Listen, the word sakina in Arabic means calm. In Bangladesh, do you guys use the word sakina for sakina, or you have your own word for sakina? Now everybody talk at the same time as a new language. Shanti. But if a person says sakina, you know what it means, right? It's one of those words that go into everyone. I'm like, reaver. Sakina is in our language now. Another word is hikmah. They say hikmah is wisdom, and it is that. But hikmah really is putting things in the proper place. وَضْعُ الشَّيْءِ فِي مَحَلِّهِ الْمُنَاسِبِ. Knowing who to say it to, how to say it, when to say it. Hikmah may be quiet. Hikmah may be talk. Hikmah may be get up and leave. Hikmah may be shadid. You have to know what to do. Hikmah. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ مَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. Allah gives hikmah to whoever He wants. Whoever has been given hikmah has been given a lot of good. Some of us, we don't have hikmah. Because when the thing happens, we have a knee-jerk reaction and we throw knives and we throw words. You're divorced. I hate you. Get out of my house. I wish you were never born. I wish you would die. And he makes that dua on Friday. He calls his son a dog and all kinds of stuff. Calls his daughter because he's mad prostitute and all that. Hikmah tells you how to behave, how to deal with people. As it relates to our children, listen guys, hikmah, your oldest child is not like the youngest child. The boy is not like the girl. They all have some reason. Most of my children, if I'm at your house and they're acting up, the little ones, most of them, all I have to do is like this. If they're getting crazy, I just do like this. And they'll all calm down, except one. That one, I have to come, Sheba, come in here. I have to give him some sweets and put him next to me. Oh, you're beautiful. If I don't do that with him, he ain't gonna stop. So I can't treat Shaykh Abu Usamah the way I treat the rest of them. They're not the same. Last thing that I want to mention, Ikhwani, in terms of dealing with children, and a lot could be said, is the importance of cooperating with each other. In Africa, we have a saying, because they took my forefathers from Africa as slaves. They stole us from Africa and brought us to America, the land of democracy and freedom and equality. And the way the police deal with me and my people, they have some nerve, the hypocrisy. Anyway, that's a different story. In Africa, they say it takes a village to raise a child. When I was little growing up, poor in our area, if I got caught doing something, I got hit until I got home. I got hit, I got dealt with until and then when I got home, that's when I got dealt with, because everyone in the village was responsible for each other, not each other's children. So we have to cooperate. Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. Cooperate mutually, doing the right thing. Why am I mentioning this? The mother and the father have to be on the same page. Can't be on a different page. Mother going one direction, father. That's why toxic marriages are a problem. If the father is beating up the mother and the kids see that, you are developing kids who want to do that. You're developing mental issues in your babies. The dad has to be on the same page as the mother. What are we trying to do here? So if the mother and the father are playing music, the mother plays music, Bollywood, Hollywood, Nollywood music, the dad doesn't like it. That's not the same page. Or vice versa. He likes music and she doesn't. She's the religious one. It's my wife who wakes me up for Fajr. I don't know about you. But my wife, every Fajr, they're the ones who wake me up by Allah's permission. So it's not the man who's always the one. He may be the one in some of the things. So the Arabs, they say, in a line of poetry, أَرَدْتَ النَّجَاةَ وَلَمْ تَسْلَكْ مَسْلَكَهَا إِنَّ السَّفِينَةَ لَا تَجْرِي عَلَى يَابِسَةٍ. You claim that you want to be successful, but you didn't tread the path to make you successful. Verily, the boat, the safina, it does not flow on dry land. If you want to be successful, go about it the right way. The Arabs said in their poetry, if the mother and the father are playing flutes and the cello, then don't be surprised when you see the kids dancing. The mother and the father, they play piano, they watch TV, and the kids are dancing, and the mother's like, why are they dancing? That's because you bring the funky music up in here. That's why you brought the TV up in here. You don't pray. You don't wear hijab. You as the father, you are not putting the law down in the house, what hijab is and what it is. You guys are not cooperating. So we have to get on the same page. And those of us who have bad marriages, you gotta go to therapy. You gotta go to someone. You gotta try to fix your marriage. I'm gonna tell you something. You get a divorce from your wife, that makes the children go astray even more, especially if those kids stay with that single mother. Try to stay with your wife. It's toxic. It can't work. Okay, then I say, hey, divorce has been legislated to help. There's a weak hadith. We want to stop it today. It says that the abghadu al-halal Allah talaq. The one halal thing that Allah hates is divorce. That's a fake hadith. Anything that is halal, Allah doesn't hate it. Allah hates in a way that befits His majesty. And He hates things that are dirty, nasty, harmful. But the things that He made halal, hikmah. He made it halal from hikmah. He knew where to put everything and what to do. So sometimes divorce is the best solution. Rasulullah divorced, Abu Bakr divorced, Uthman divorced, Umar, Ali, they all divorced. I'm not saying divorce. I'm saying don't be one of those people who get mad, you're divorced. Try to stick in me. You gotta have that stick it to it fluid. Stick it to it fluid. Like your mother and your fathers used to have. Things weren't perfect for them and they stayed together. Today, the time, the environment, it makes it easy for us to get out of these relationships. All right, so there's this balance. If it's toxic, what can I say? But you gotta try to work on this situation. Last thing that I want to mention, guys, is Allah described those kuffar in the Quran. He said about them, يُخْرِبُونَ بُيُوتَهُمْ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ. They destroyed their homes with their own hands. Prophet Muhammad was coming to get them. Before Rasulullah and the companions arrived, they broke up their stuff. So they destroyed it with their own hands so that Rasulullah wouldn't do it. And Rasulullah and them came, they destroyed the rest of it. You don't want to be the person who destroys your own house with your own hand. And the way you do that is by not sitting down and coming up with a game plan. How are we going to move into the future with our families? You got to sit down with your wife, sit down with your kids, and we have to communicate. And we have to start learning how to teach our children to have these awkward discussions. Awkward. Like we can have awkward discussions right here between ourselves about racism, about different things. But then it's not the time for that. But with your family, awkward discussions about LGBT, awkward discussion, about sex, all of that stuff. Cleanliness, all of that stuff. Awkward discussions about drama that's going on between family members who are creating fitna for you. You gotta sit your kids down to talk about it so that it won't go into the next generation like it's in your generation right now. We don't have anything to do with those problems that happened back in Select. I wasn't even born. And now I'm in Birmingham and I gotta deal with my relatives and these problems because we inherited them. As the father of my kids, we're gonna have a discussion, right, about this. Auntie so-and-so, and Uncle so-and-so, and this is what happened, but the hop is here, and this is oppressive, and this is how I deal with it. We're all what we have. After Allah, we have each other, our family, so stick to your family. Okay, brothers, in concluding, I ask Allah by His Ism al-Azam to bless the Bangladeshi community, inshallah, establish you guys on a Salafiyya, the Sunnah. And for those of you in the audience, maybe you don't know Salafiyya. Salafiyya is just understanding the Quran and the Sunnah the way Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali understood it. That's all. If the people in this room said, we're going to be a Salafi group and we have to listen to the Amir, I say, no, run away from that. Run away from that. But being people who are Ahlul Hadith, people on the Sunnah, Ahlul Sunnah, you have to understand and embrace the religion in that way. And those of you who are Salafi, beware of the dawah of those extremists, of ghulat, of jarh, of tajreeh. It won't help your community grow. Those people are people you dammirun. They destroy. They don't help to grow. They don't help us to grow. And we're trying to live and thrive. And that's what this talk is about. We want our children to grow like flowers, and I'm not trying to be Sufi or anything like that. We want them to grow like flowers and to assume their full potential for themselves, for the community, for Islam. And all these people can tell us, don't listen to Jahangir, don't listen to him, don't go over here. He was over there. He got on the bus, and the bus driver was the great cousin of the Mulvi Saab who was who was buried, and his grave is in Senate. He's off the Sunnah because he got on that bus, number 17. Are you serious? That's how we excommunicate people? No. We're against Daesh, ISIS, and we're against the ghulat of a jarh with tajreeh. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته. عفوا يا شيخ, I know 5 minutes.
Alhamdulillah, it was a great lecture, mashallah. would like to listen from Shaykh more and more. It seems like we started now and finish just like a blink. Brothers and sisters, I would like to invite now Q&A session. It's going to be like 10 to 15 minutes. If you need any question, then our volunteer brothers and sisters, they have a pen and pencil. So raise your hand and they can give you a pen and paper. You can write it down quickly and forward it to the Sheikh, inshallah. So please, everybody, I would like to request sit again and keep